All right. I am going live and direct to your office or wherever you at. Hopefully you guys can jump in. I know it's sort of last minute, but I'm just gonna jump straight into it. Whenever you guys are able to jump on. So the first one we're gonna talk about, of course, Chargers, Raiders. Let's jump in, take a look at it really quickly. So let's look at the games. All right, so the OU is high. It's at 53, right? That's a pretty high. Anything over 50, that's good enough. I think Herbert, he's going to jump back into things. He's going to jump back into the flow of things. I see Herbert. He's going to at least have. I'm giving him 25 with everybody out in the secondary. Like the last time I checked the Raiders secondary, who knows who's still in there? I have no idea. But tonight, I'm going with Justin. Let me see. Let me give you guys some of my plays that I have up. Oh, that came off. All right, let me see if I can find my play. I just had my line, and I lost my line. Oh, line star, you failed me. All right, so some of my plays for tonight, definitely Justin Herbert. I think I had him in a line at captain or MVP. If you guys want to play that, you can do that. I had Eckler. He's another one. Austin, because he's going to be the main recipient, right? I still have no idea what's going to be going on with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, because the last time I checked, they are game time decision. I think Mike Williams is more tending to doubtful. Keenan Allen, I don't know what's going on with his life. I am tending more to doubtful because they're saying even if he plays, it's going to be limited. So I have no idea. I really don't care. Anytime I hear stuff like that and it's trending that way, ideally I'm thinking Eckler. For a rookie quarterback like that, he's going to want to depend on someone who's reliable, and Eckler is reliable. Then you're going to have, I like Carlson. He's going to help with field goals, kicking that shit through. Derek Carr, I think he's going to have some tough times, because I think Waller, he's definitely going to be needed. I was thinking of putting in Derek Carr in there. I was going to give him 25% to 50% exposure. I'm not too sure yet, but I'm definitely going with Darren Waller in a line. If you was going to choose one line, a cash line or a GPP line, put Darren Waller in there because he's definitely going to be needed in the slate. Also, a slip pick for tonight, you might want to check out Tyron Johnson, right? Because God knows who who the Chargers are going to have tonight. So, but I think Tyron is going to be he's going to be a good look. I mean, he already had 7 targets last game, right? 6 receptions for 55 yards in a tub, right? I like the 55 yards. I like the 7 targets. That's key for tonight. That means he's getting looks, right? And that means Herbert is looking his way in his tunnel vision. And anytime you can get 7 targets from a rookie, and then when the top 2 receivers may be out, that's definitely a strong look for him to be in there. I had a good line I was going to show you guys. I guess I'm going to have to do that line over. Yeah, I had a good line for DraftKings where I ended up with $100 left in my sequence, but for some reason I logged out, didn't save it. But that's that for it. Let me go down and check out any values. Derek Carr. If I was playing a second line, GPP definitely, just because I hate him so much, right? You guys know I hate him, but I think I don't know. I think he can do good here. But I mean, he had 15 fantasy points in the last matchup. It was an away game, understood. But yeah, I mean, those 3 TDs versus the Colts. I mean, that was impressive. I definitely was not expecting that. I knew exactly what he was going to do against the Jets. I mean, that was kind of expected. I figured against the Colts, he would probably give you 15 points. I mean, he turned out 28. And against Leonard and those boys, I mean, the defense was looking really, really shoddy. I'm kind of nervous about the Colts defense more than Carr. But I don't want to quickly just say that Carr found his groove. But if you guys want to toss Carr in there, because I think he's going to be needed in a slate. I mean, if he starts scoring tubs, then you're in trouble. So definitely put him in. All right. Hunter Henry. I'm seeing a 12-point average, 12 to 15 points. So definitely look into that. I'm not even too sure what we're gonna get. He sheds the injury designation. That was a day ago in terms of his hip. Okay. Yeah, he's gonna be back in. I mean, Vegas is ranked 20th versus tight end ones. I mean, Burton, Herndon. I don't like these tight end one matchups because it's kind of skewed. You know. Excuse me, Kelsey 4 weeks ago. Excuse me, against this defense. Kelsey had 29, 30 points. Henry, I mean, he had 6 receptions, 8 targets. That's impressive, right? Because you really want to look for those targets. And given that game script with the Falcons, I mean, I'm trying to remember that game. That game was a good game, where he was sought more down the middle. He had some slight out routes behind some of the corners. Yeah, 10 points doesn't move me, right? For 5'8", but on a 1-game slate, if you want to take your chances, but he's not in my line. I mean, I went more to the kickers. I like Carlson's look. I mean, if you were looking at Carlson's chart, I mean, it's trending upwards. I mean, all right, let's take the last 7 for Carlson, who is the kicker, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's take the last 8 weeks, right? 9, 10, 15, 7, 6, 8, and 9 against the Colts, right? So, I mean, for a kicker, I mean, you want consistency in there, right? So, and kickers are always low owned. Every time I've used kickers, like a lot of times in my lines, right? And they're always definitely low owned. Anytime under 25% on a showdown slate, that's great, right? So, I mean, I like him. Guyton, Guyton's in there. You can throw him in the mix. 25% exposure for me. Yeah, I'm not too heavy on GPP. Anyone down here? Let me. If I was scrummaging for gold down here, I don't know. If I was to pick, maybe Brian Edwards. I mean, is he getting any targets? But it's all based on what Keenan does, what Mike does. I think Mike is more trending down more than Keenan, but I'm more interested in what the hell Keenan's gonna do, and that's kind of messing things up. And if you guys know of any further updates while we're in this trend, that would be good. So we're just gonna scoot off into main slate, week 15. Bang! All right, that was my drums for the day. Yeah. All right, let's go to week 15. So this is gonna be always kind of tough because I really don't have. I wanted to have the list in line star with if I wanted to pick into a specific slate, I can just go into those 2 games and just scroll down for each value. That way I can see the prices, because the prices really mean a lot to me, because that determines my slot, right? If you're doing line construction, pricing is everything to me, right? So speaking of pricing, I'm just going to go through my top plays, but I feel like it's imperative. Let's just go through the 9K players first, right? DraftKings prices, right? So whatever the prices are for these guys on FanDuel, you can go through it. Let's talk about freaking Henry and Cook, right? So since Henry's first, he's at 995K. Both of these guys need 30, right? Let me just take Henry first. So very impressive game, right? Last game, right? I had him 50% exposure. It kind of happened. Basically, the end of my lines, the end of my output, 50%, right? I kind of balanced out, more on the negative end. Henry he kind of went big with 39 points. But my one big thing for going with Henry at this price point is, I mean, he's a running back, right? And you're dealing with defenses. This is the NFL top tier defenses with coaches who are getting paid to stop you, right? Now, what helps Tannehill is, what helps Tannehill is AJ Brown and Davis, and apparently Tannehill is just getting better. And obviously, when you get better, you're going to be very much respected, which is going to kind of dissipate from the D line and from the secondary, the linebackers from stacking that box, right? But when you put off 39 fantasy points, right? I am just not a big fan of back-to-backs. There's nowhere here that I've seen in Henry's charts where he has back-to-back 30 plus game performances. Nowhere in this season. Now, if you wanted to go to last season, if you wanted to equate, his charts, you may have a similar point if you wanted to go backwards and say, okay, week 17, he had 42 points, right? And then when he went into the wild card against New England, he had 30. But there's a big difference, right? Week 17 last year, they're trying to get into the playoffs, right? So it's just a different atmosphere. But I just don't see this entire year. I think it's a large enough sample size for Henry. I mean, he's had 4 games over 30, right? He had Minnesota. At Minnesota, he had 30. Next game, he followed it up with 19, right? No bueno, right? The week later, he had 43 points, right, against Houston. Now, Houston was a given. I mean, not 43 points, right, but against Houston's terrible everything, right, in their defense. I mean, he ran away with that shit. What did he have? Yeah, he had 2 tubs, 212 yards on 22 carries, right? Obviously, fucking impressive. All right, but let's see what he did against Minnesota, right? I mean, against Pittsburgh. Steelers, 15 points. Wop wop, right? So that's a dub. What's the next one? His third one. He had 41 against Indy, right? Not too long ago, right? At Indy, followed it up against the Browns with 6, right? And then the next week, which was last week against the Jags, he had 39. Now listen, it's Lions. I get it. I'm with you. It's the fucking Lions. I get it. I understand. Please don't hurt me. But I'm just letting you know, I'm not a big fan of 9K players every week playing them. I mean, what kind of pissed me off too? I've seen some comments, some commentary on Derrick Henry being a must start. Oh, he's cash safe. And when I see comments like that from people who are just so comfortable playing him, people can be so prisoner of the moment, and that, in my opinion, is just a setup for disaster. I don't want you to go in, playing King Henry as just this safe cash play, as if he's just this automatic every week. Because literally, if a defensive coordinator just wanted to shut down Henry, and if a defensive coordinator just feels like, well, Henry is the main glue for this team, so I'm just gonna shut down Henry and not even worry about, I'm just gonna get burned with Davis and what's his name with AJ. I'll just take my chances because with AJ, he gets the yards after carry, right? Like you're gonna get away with Tannehill he's gonna find the one-on-one matchups. And the thing with AJ Brown, he has 3 receptions for 400 yards in a game, right? It's like, you're looking back at his receptions like, wait a minute, how did he get 25 points on 3 receptions, right? So, but again, it's the Lions. So, play him at your own caution and at your own speed. I have him at 25%. What's up, Tim? Easy fade. Thank you. Okay, so you're with me. All right, I'm not crazy. I like to not be crazy. I like to have some kind of sense of objectivity. So when people are going like gung-ho for Derek, I'm like, yeah, easy fade. Catch that fade. The next one, 9K, Dalvin. Now, this is interesting, right? Initially, I was like, nah, I'm good. I didn't write anything under Dalvin. Yeah, he's just damn good. I'm not ruling out a Henry Cook line this week. Yeah, yeah, that guy is bugging. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, you putting in a Cook Henry line. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that definitely would have worked last week. But okay, so Dalvin Cook against the Bears, by the way, just so that you guys can follow. I'm just dealing with just these 2 players, then I'm gonna go into my favorite plays. So Dalvin, the only reason why I'm mentioning him is because I initially wrote him off, but I was just watching Fantasy Live, and some of my most reliable commentators that I was hearing mentioned Cook, that based on the game script, he's still going to be eating and getting love. I mean, I agree. His receptions kind of scare me. Last week, even though he had 22 carries, 100 plus yards, 9K is just too rich for my blood, right? And as my guy Tim said, hey man, there's other backs, right? So I do not like forcing prisoner of the moment plays into my line construction, because if you're playing daily, that's just, recipe for disasters, right? You never want to feel like you're forcing players into a line. Always do what's comfortable for you. I like safe floors, right? Because I'm playing every week, and I just like to keep that consistent floor. What I think is most likely gonna get, right? So let's go into my favorite plays, real quick. So all right, so let's go into my it's not really my main line. I really don't have a main line yet. Usually I just dabble between GPP and main line, and then usually by Sunday mornings, when it's late night, I'm usually trying to see if I can merge those two lines into my one line, right? Because I only need one line to cash, right? Out of the 30 possibilities in a GPP line, right? There's going to be 30 different iterations, different line variations to hit a cash line, right? 33% of any GPP. Obviously, you're going to have some duplications of lines. So you're going to have, depending on whether you're dealing with $5 lines, $10 lines, at least 20 different iterations of a line, right? Give or take average, right? So I'm just thinking if I can get that one cash line, I can be smart enough to think of one cash line that's above the other 20. I mean, that's how I think with my ego. Like, I'm good enough to outdo 20 other cash lines. And that's kind of the mentality I have going into it. But so this is what I have, right? So given on Twitter, I had initially put Philip Rivers, right? And which is the cash play. If you want to build around, I don't know, who's going to be watching this and who's new, but if you're a newbie and you're going through the system, I would start with Philip Rivers, right? He just looks cash safe to me. So I made a line starting with him, right? It's one of my first look builds, so it's just something just off of the top of my head. Reason being, and one thing that I really like, because I'm a data analyst during the day, and one thing you like to have when you're looking at charts and graphs is consistency, right? And how recent those performances were, right? Where you'll be able to match up so that you're not going to have recency bias in your head where you're matching a prisoner of the moment plays, or you're matching up data that's like 8 weeks old or maybe from last year or whatever. But here we have Philip Rivers just had a meeting with the Texans, right? I mean, nothing to be said about the Texans, just their matchup is just juicy, right? I mean, it's the end of the year. I mean, and I like that Deshaun Watson, he's still going to play hard, right? He's still going to sling that rock, right? And he never likes to quit. That's good for you. When you pick Philip Rivers, you like to have your opponent still slinging that rock. That's just more opportunities for you for this game to be competitive, more points to be scored, right? More overs. And what is the over in this game? I didn't even know. 29.3 implied on the team. So Line Star has him projected at 18. At 5,900 on DK, let me do the math on that real quick. 0.32 times 5,900. Yeah, so Line Star got it dead on because they're using 3x. So it's 18. I have him at 19. So, and that is super safe, right? I mean, if price itself, and if your minimum floor required for that price point is 19, and he's had 19 at Houston, and now he's at home, and he throws the ball. He threw the ball last time, 285 yards against Houston, 2 tubs, 35 passing attempts. I mean that's good money. I mean, that I like safe. That's super safe. So you want to start there. Running backs. So 2 and 1. I never like putting running back and quarterback on the same team. I hate that shit with a passion. Excuse me, I guess. But exception with Jonathan Taylor. I like this kid. I really like this kid. And putting him together with Rivers, just because Rivers is just so cash safe, I feel like he's going to be a solid floor. I think about if Rivers gives me 15, I'm okay with that because he's only 4 points from 19. I don't see him giving you 15, but you combine that with JT. Oh, I think given how horrible Houston's defense is, and again, given the level of competition, right? Watson's not going to quit. Right. And so which would allow carries. The game script is not going to be too far away from each other. I don't see Philip Rivers. Well, it could be a possible, with him, the way how he throws the ball, them running away. But I don't see. But I am good on Taylor, especially his last two performances. When you go from 22 to 33, that's good optimal ceiling right there, right? That's beautiful stuff. I like to see that because if his price point is at 7.2, right? And at 7.2, he's gonna need, let me do the math, 7.2, 23.4 for value. I mean, last two games, 22, 33, and he needs 23 for value. I mean, that kind of level, you love that shit. And against Houston, that matchup is gold, right? So that's beautiful. I love shit like that. I was kind of convinced, you know, I was going over some discussion with some of my GOAT pals when I like to shoot the shits. And Alvin the Chipmunk Camaro, aka Mr. Third Wheel of this thing. I like him. I initially just shrugged him off. I didn't like him. Was really turning me off. You know, I couldn't wipe my ass with 22 points, really. I understand he got you 22 points. I'm thinking 7-4, you need 23. You know, I'm looking if I want to waste my 7K on Alvin just to get a minimal floor, and that floor is so high, then you know, I want something where I can go low and just get all of that icing on the cake, right? You feel me? Just all of that GPP love, right? All in there. But I was convinced. Well, here's one thing that kind of moved me, right? I'm hearing that Breeze is looking to come back, right? And let me check on Breeze because I haven't seen his latest updates all day, and that's going to be critical. Latest updates 1 day ago, designated to return. Saints have designated Breeze Rips to return from injury reserve, but is he playing though? Breeze experienced pain and didn't have his full range of motion. Slated for another session on Wednesday. He must have done well enough for the Saints to open his 21-day window to practice. All right. Know what the fuck that means? He's got a ways to go still. Okay, that's what Peyton is saying. He's got a ways to go. Not trying to hurry him back. Because I'm hearing that Breeze wants to come back and play for this Chiefs game. And I get it. It's going to be a high OU game. It's just going to be crazy. So I'm getting that he wants to play. That's going to be a tough call, man. I like Alvin. I'm going to keep him. I'm going to keep him on my hip. I made a line for him just in case. But he doesn't have to be, you know, he doesn't have to be a first range. You know, Tim, like you said, there's other range of RBs. But let's just go through my line, right? Wide receivers. I have one of them, Ayuk, Brandon. Love him. At 6'3" on DraftKings, right? He's going to match up against fucking Denard Robinson, right? He's like ranked 49th, you know, on receivers. And it's fucking Dallas. That whole secondary looks discombobulated and everything. And I mean, Boyd had 9 points. Marquise got lucky with 14. McLaurin had 16 against. I mean, it's Dallas secondary. And this kid is a beast. Ayuk is a beast, right? With the exception of 2 games, 20, 23 fantasy points, 19, 20, 24 last game against tough. You know, Washington's defense, I mean, their secondary is kind of trash. I get it. But their front four is pretty good. This kid is athletic. I have him. All lines, right? No hesitation. So just to be clear, I have Taylor all lines. Philip, I do not, more cash. Brandon Ayuk, all lines. T.Y. Hilton, I am matching him up in a few of my lines with Philip Rivers just so I can have some love because I forgot to play him last week and that pissed me off so much because I read prior to the game that the coach was looking to give him some more love, trying to instill game plans with him, right? So I kind of missed the boat last week and I hate missing that boat and jumping in second fiddle, but I'm going to take a chance because his price is still at 5.5 DK, right? Which is for that value at 5.5 is going to get you for TY. That's still 17. Old TY Hilton can still get that in his sleep. I mean, I looked at him play last week. He didn't look like he fell off too much. I think it was just a rapport issue, you know, trying to know each other between Philip and him. And I think he's starting to he's starting to set back up. I'm kind of upset by Pittman, like he kind of fell off a little bit, but because it seems like this is going to be the game plan. And I think if you want to put your head into how the coach is thinking, right, they're going into the playoffs. You want to be able to rely on your best players, right? You don't want to be relying on Michael Pittman going into the playoffs. So I think he's trying to get, I think he's trying to get Hilton, comfy, warmed up. COVID is a weird situation, and with Philip, I think Philip wants reliability over anything else. Austin Eckler, yes, that's right. I completely forgot about him. But we're gonna go back to talking about those guys towards the end. But the third wide receiver that I have. So T.Y. Hilton, I'm giving him 50, maybe 75% exposure. So, you could take it on that. It's Houston, right? So, Godspeed on that. The third one that I have, either Cooper Kupp or Woods, right? I love those two. Someone had asked me, who am I picking between the two? Bingo. I was trying to decide between the two. I was thinking Woods, but I'm hearing that he had an injury during practice. I forgot. I think it was like a thigh strain or something. They're saying that he might be able to come back. Let me see what's the latest update on Woods real quick. That's the only thing that's kind of scaring me off from him in terms of optimal value, right? Let me see what's the latest news on Mr. Woods. Come on, give me some love. Just trying to scroll down. Not giving me love. All right, Rogue Report. He didn't take part in Wednesday's practice. Yeah, they don't have any new news. That's of 22 hours ago. Either way, I'm going with Kupp, right? I'm digging Kupp. I just like Woods just because of his usage in the red zone. When the yardage, when it shrinks down. I've just noticed this year, Goff, he just has a hard time just really trying to find guys. But it's the fucking Jets, right? It's my ex team. I know them well. The secondary is just super trash, right? I would not put any running backs against them, right? Because the Jets, they play super hard. The defense, they really, really play tough against the run. But the pass, there's a bunch of rookies, backup rookies. So I think Cooper Kupp, he's just going to be sitting in those zones. There's going to be a lot of blitzes. I think Woods, he beats a lot of those blitzes a lot. But Kupp has a slight edge. So that's where I'm going with that. Tight end. All right. Tight end. I like Cook. Right. I like Jared. He just seemed like a safe play. Let me just look at the tight end slots real quick. So at tight ends, I looked at Kelsey real quick, and when I'm doing it, my first looks, Kelsey against the Saints. I already played Kelsey last week, and I lucked up. I am very particular on this matchup. The Saints are number one against tight ends. Right. You take that with a grain of salt, right? Because the tight end slot is just a really weak slot, right? So I'm not looking at a banged up Ertz, right? Obviously, he had 2 points. I'm not looking at, Hunter Hurts. He had 1 point. Noah Fant, he had 2 points. He hasn't been reliable based on the quarterback. Reed. So Kelsey can still eat. Not at 8K for me. Too rich for my blood. I'm good. Even though 8K can still get you, he still needs around 25 for value. I'm not saying he's not gonna get it. I just need to know what's gonna happen, with the quarterback. Is it gonna be Taysom Hill? That situation. But the first thing that popped out of me was Jared Cook, right? When I was just scrolling through the list of tight ends. I immediately came upon him, so I'm gonna just start with him first. I like Cook, just primarily because of the last 2 weeks, right? I've been in a groove with Taysom, and Taysom seems to have a better rapport, with Cook than Breeze has with Cook in the end zone. So, that was my first take on it. The last 2 weeks, he has a TD in each game. I don't like the 3 receptions, but it seems like those receptions come right around the end zone. So I can dig that. And what I'm digging with the game script, whether it's whether it's Taysom or whether it's just trying to get my life together, whether it's Taysom or Breeze, I mean, they're still either or they're still gonna have to keep up with the Chiefs, right? Because it's just gonna be I feel like it's just gonna be insane. I think the quarterback, what's his name? He's gonna figure them out. Uh, he's gonna figure out the Saints one way or the other. It may start off because they're in um, the Saints' backyard. I think it's gonna start off a little bit slow, but I think he's gonna figure them out. Um, yeah, so I have Cook. There was one more in the tight end slot that I wanted to take a look at. One of them stood out to me. Irv stood out to me. Irv Smith. Um, he is at 3.6 on DraftKings. I was gonna play him last week. I fucked up, and I got scared, and I didn't play him. And the bastard had 16 points. Just found him. I was just so mad. 4 receptions for 63 yards and a tub. I'm telling you, he's gonna find him. And I think, and the reason why I really thought about Irv Smith last week was because he really shines. I was gonna say he really shines against tough defenses, but I mean, I was just looking back and I've seen. I mean, he had his highest point total, 15 against the Lions back then. I mean, but Lions isn't really a tough defense, so I kind of take that back. But I was just thinking, just based on the game script, game flow, how I saw it. When you're looking at Cousins, you want to have a game script in your head, right? So I thought with Tampa Bay, I'm thinking initially slugging. It's going to be hard to kind of pass. I mean, it's going to be kind of hard to run on the Tampa Bay Bucks defense. The secondary is kind of shitty, in the back end. But I think they're going to pressure. They was going to pressure Cousins enough, and he's going to get scared and he's going to see ghosts in the pocket and going to want to dump it off, right? That's what happens. You want to just try to find the next nearest person, which is usually either Cooks or Irv Smith, somebody that's nearby, so that I don't take this sack. And I see that coming. Same kind of game script, same kind of tough defense, right? When those boys are back there, don't ask me to remember names because I've been smoking. Those 2 boys that's on the D line, you know them. They're going to be coming, and I think Cousins going to want to just get the fuck away from them, right? Because he is no dance in the pocket, right? He's no running quarterback. So I dig Irv. I kind of like him, but my tight end of choice right now is that I see who's safe is Mr. Cooks himself. Let me squeeze to the defense. So defense is really quickly. I mean, you can play off of it. Rams, obviously. Let's start from the lowest ones on DraftKings, right? So the highest one on DraftKings is Rams at 4.5. If you want to go safe, go Rams. Because Mono Man Sam is not escaping that D line at all. He's gonna take some sacks. I think he may get a couple bombs in there. But yeah, Sam Darnold is just pathetic. So you can get away paying for that high defense. Let's go low real quick. I like Washington. I had Washington in my cash line when just based on my line construction. I've been going low on defenses these past few weeks since I've been doing the Jets. I've been kind of continuing that trend for myself. But I looked at Washington. I like Washington against Seattle defense. That's okay. Just because of that D line. That D line is playing tough, man. That D line. I mean, you put up 23 points against. I mean, there's Nick Mullins last week, 49ers. Yeah, I mean, you put that up there. I mean, that's super impressive. And there's the number 2 draft pick last year, that kid Cam. I mean, he was just playing lights out. He could not be stopped. And you're getting closer to the playoffs, and I think they're feeling that sense of urgency. So I think that Washington defense, I mean, it's going to get tougher and tougher, Philly, with that win. So that East division is still up in the air, right? At 1-10, whatever their record is. Let's see what other defenses people are playing or thinking about. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's go to the flex position. And flex, I mean, let's look at lower tiered, right? Because I'm assuming that, usually how my line construction works, let's say let's say Phillip Rivers, I look at him real quick and he's a guy I want to build around, right? So since I'm at the top, I usually go top down, and then I'm gonna let me look at my running backs. If I see some doable running backs, if I'm not looking at Cook and Henry, I'm definitely looking at mid tier, right? And then after that, you want to look at the wide receivers, mid tier. If you want to get away with high tier, that's fine. But let's look at the flex, assuming that you end up with maybe less than 4K, right? So let's look at these less than 4K guys. Part of my line never really got that low. I still like Lynn Bowden, right? Shout out to my guys, man. With Lynn Bowden last week. Do that in the chat. Excuse me, definitely in the chat. Lynn Bowden, he got me a cool 15 points, man. He had 9 targets last week. And for a 3-6 player, you're getting 9 targets, 7 receptions for 82 yards. I mean, it's the Chiefs defense, The Chiefs, I mean, they ain't the Texans defense, right? But they can be got, especially if the game script is just going to be passed and you're just trying to keep up. Yeah, let me see. I'm thinking if New England, didn't they play them before? Yeah, I feel like they played New England before, but maybe I'm just not reading too much into it. Yeah, I like Lynn. Let's see in the flex position. So there's just going to be a lot of players. Irv I like, and Lynn Bowden, he's at 3-6. Let me look at Darnell Mooney. If there's any players that you guys have, definitely shoot them in the chat. Lower tiered players that you want me to look at, I can definitely look at it real quick. Darrell Mooney, I don't know what's going on. He had 8 and 10 at 3-9. At 3-9, you're gonna need 12 to 14 points. I mean, I don't see any optimal, but I do see a nice floor with Mitch. Maybe, if you want 10 points, if you're satisfied with that, fine. Not with me too much. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Man, that's a shame. I'm passing by Larry Fitzgerald. He's at 3-3, but he's not getting any burn right now. That's just a shame. Rest in peace to Colin Johnson. He was my sleeper a couple weeks ago. Man, he's such a great play, but when you have that other quarterback in there now, Gardner, I mean, you have to look at the other players on there, like Laviska and Chark. Obviously, Chark would be back in the scenario, but it's it's the Ravens defense. Everyone's gearing up for the playoffs. Jacksonville is not gearing up for the playoffs, so I do not like at this point of the year playing any teams that really don't have any motivation, right? So you want to look for players that really have a motivation going into the playoffs, and that's really going to help you into the later weeks 15, 16, and 17. Let me look at Steven Sims. He's at 3-1 down there on DraftKings, right? Yeah, nope, trash. All right, 3K, the 3K players. All right, so at the flex position, if you want to double up with, because initially I had him, if you want to double up with tight ends, I like Komet, right? I like Cole, not to be confused with J. Cole. All right, Komet. I like him. I like Komet, man, because he had 14 in the prior week. It was Detroit defense. I mean, I'm kind of bummed out he had 8 points against Houston defense, but I do like his target shares. He had 7 targets each week. 40 yards. It seems to be his average. Yeah, I think he can serve some good because he's rounding into the number one tight end back there. I think he can serve you some good. Let's look at Sanu looks like a consistent but these two consistently low. I mean, he had 15, 5, 5. So your baseline is going to be 5 for that. I like Van Jefferson, but he's too inconsistent. Any more 3K players? Tyler Eifert. He had 4 points. Last game, I'm not a big fan. He doesn't stand out to me. Jordan Akins. I liked him. I still do. If he can just catch the damn ball, freaking Butterfingers. I kind of do like him. Obviously, I'm not a fan against the Colts defense. And he's at he's at 2.8, right? Pretty low, very low floor, and then we'll just be going into a bunch of tight ends. So yeah, that's that on that. So that's what I have for that line. For my second line, it's kind of the same kind of thing, but it's more security. So my cash line, pretty much, I have Lamar. I'm just rolling with Lamar. It's against do the man going against Jacksonville, and the only thing I really changed up in there was I like to keep my lines similar, so I didn't want to move them too much. So the only things I really interchanged was if I'm not doing Kamara, I was looking at maybe want to do McKissick, at running back, just because of the. I mean, he's just going to be getting targets. I feel I'm not worried about the quarterback's injury. I mean, he seemed to be, it just seemed to be light, but he's going to be getting targets. I like that he's at home. I can see some comfort there. A lot of people like Drake. I'm not a big Drake fan, but some people like him. More GPP for me, but I don't have him. So with this line, I definitely had Lamar at the helm. I kept Jonathan Taylor. McKissick is in there. Ayuk, 100%. I have him. And then I alternated between Cup and Woods. So I made a line with both of them just in case both pops. I mean, it would kind of suck if both dudded, but how can that even happen? Like, I'm not even thinking about that. I have Hilton, Cook, and Komet. So I combined. I'm doing the tight end thing just because I like security with the Rams defense at 4-5. Right. So that is it on my front. Just towards the end now, right? We're gonna wrap up the last 5 minutes or so. Let me just go through from the top now, right? Top values going down. People that are standing out to me. Ridley, I don't like it, but it's a horrible defense. So I mean, defense is ranked 32nd against wide receivers. Yeah. I mean, I still have to play with my lines, so I haven't made any GPP lines yet. I should have. So I'm just more in my cash thoughts. So forgive me if it doesn't. Certain things aren't hitting me yet if it's not GPP, but I do like Ridley. Just that defense is just so horrible. See, Metcalf, not really moving me right. Again, horrible defense, but that front four, I see Russell Wilson. He's going to be running around. Hopkins against Big Play Slay. I like the fact that he had 25 points last game. Obviously, he's always going to get double-digit targets like last game. He's averaging 8 to 9 receptions. Last game, he had 136. But I think, to my recollection, that a lot of those yards came towards the fourth quarter. I don't know what was going on in that Giants game. I just couldn't believe he was just racking up those yards. But, he's finding them. I think he can be found again. It's highly doable, but it's just not on my radar for cash, but definitely doable. AJ Brown, I like this kid, man. He had 9 targets last game, 7 receptions, right? So, I mean, against Jacksonville, 7 receptions for 112. And Jacksonville defense reminds me of the Lions defense a little bit. So, if you want to correlate Jacksonville defense to the Lions defense, maybe you can correlate those 9 targets, the 7 receptions, and maybe another 100+ yards in the tub, right? So, man, yeah, I am not opposed to that at all. Justin Jefferson, I mean, no, yeah, no, not against that Chicago Bears defense, no, right? And I think Let me see if there's anybody else that stands out. Anybody else? Anybody else? I hear Cooks is back. Doesn't really move me against Xavier Rhodes, Corey Davis. If you want to load him in at 5'8" DK, at 5'8", he needs 18 for value. Yeah. Let me see. I see dead people. Yeah. There was one that I had in mind, but not really. I can't really think of it offhand. Some people like Mike Evans. He's starting to grow on me. I can see him and Mike Evans growing on me for cash just with Brady, and I know Brady. He's trying to get into playoff mode, and Fournette. That just came to my head. Fournette, because I was just watching Fantasy Live, and because Rojo has been ruled out. Right. Let me just take a look at Fournette. Damn, I'm gonna have to switch my cash line. I just don't like Fournette just been with his fucking butterfingers. But I think it was just the yips. I think he just got the yips. He's just been, it just got in his head. And when you can't have things in your head with Brady, and he's battling for a running back position, which can you add that's getting in anybody's head. But I like it. I kind of like it, man. But Shady looked kind of good last week. I mean, I was kind of high, but that boy was looking quick as fuck. I was like, what the? I was like, is that old Shady? I was like, he's looking like a little Kyler Murray out there. I was just looking like a little squirrel, just going in between the tackles. I mean, it blew me away. Obviously, you guys was probably like, oh, Shady, but he was really looking quick. Maybe I was hearing the commentators because he was fresh. He kept getting deactivated like every game. But he really looked fresh. And I think, listen, I wouldn't be surprised, right? Hey, if you have a quarter line, toss Shady in there because it's getting to the playoffs, right? And I could see a vet like Brady. I mean, you want somebody like a Shady in there. He reminds me of a Rondo, right? In the like playoff Rondo, you just might get playoff Shady. Yeah, I'm calling it. Yeah, people are gonna take my stuff. Playoff Shady. I think he reminds me of that. I think he's gonna step into that third down role, right? And I think, but I think it all depends on what Fournette does as well. If Fournette shits the bed, but I don't see that against Atlanta. He can do well against Atlanta if they can establish themselves at 4-5. I mean, that's a really low price running back, man. I like him, but I still got to think about it some more. But yeah, that's it on my end. Tyreek Hill, Tyreek. I mean, at 8.8K. I mean, he just keeps. I mean, man. I'm just not a fan of just reaching for the stars. I mean, if I want to reach for the stars, man. I mean, it's Tyreek Hill. I mean, third versus wide receiver ones. That defense. I mean, it's going to be tough. I'm not playing him. There are other wide receivers to consider, right? So that's it, guys. I've got to rock out. But any more questions? Hit me on the chat. Hit me on Twitter. You guys know what it is. At 6 Cents DFS, man. Holla at me. Love you guys, man. 1 year.